Alright, y'all. Back again. Classroom video. It's probably going to be the last week of classroom videos because next week is finals and I'm going to be doing half days, so I won't have time to sit here and do these. Like, I won't have a break period next week. And then after that, no more school. So, hooray! But what I want to talk about is the development of Lonzo going into this offseason. Put on my glasses. So I just got through watching the video. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and back it up a few so I can make sure I get the right video. It's a channel on YouTube called Ball Family Highlights, and this video that was posted 9 hours ago that says Lonzo Ball elite mid-range potential. Matter of fact, let's see here. Go walk this over to my smart board so y'all can see it in the background. And make sure you get a good look at it here. But yeah, this is the video right here. And one of the things that I talked about this season was shot selection. And the reason I talked about his shot selection is because there are better shots he's leaving on the court. Better shots means higher efficiency. And I know in this video it says that he was 27% the previous year from mid-range. He bumped that up to 40%. He just had improvement all over the court this year. Let's just be fair. And I have no doubt in my mind if he had been allowed to be point guard, he would have got a career high average for assists. He'd have probably been like 8, maybe 9 assists a game, somewhere in there. But anywho, shot selection. Like, I one of my more popular videos when I told people to quit, harassing him about his training methods and whatnot. I said he needed to work on everything. That is the reason why. Him having a better mid range is good. It's only going to get better as he improves. When he start hitting 45% to 49% for mid range, that's a problem. That is a serious problem to deal with. And even in this video, it details like a lot of his misses were from it was rim outs. It would go in and then just pop out. You know what I'm saying? So truth be told, he really should be higher, but it's okay. Next season, I think that will be about 45%. And 45% from mid range is deadly. And I think for a player, especially a young guy, once you get the feeling that it's going in, you take more of it. But I think also he saw that it improved and it helped his game, and so he's going to work on it this off season. But he was making some of those in traffic, and in some cases, a lot of the shots I saw in that video were like the last 10 seconds on the shot clock. Um, to me, it's one thing to make a shot when there's plenty of time left. It's another when the time is ticking down and you got to take one of those shots before you get a turnover. And like I said, some of those he had 2 or 3 guys on him. Now, a lot of those were in pick and roll situations by your center, and they got separation, and he got to get to his spot and nobody guarded him. That's going to change the same way it did for the 3 ball, because they started running him off the line at one point this year. Again, back to my original video that I made that was very popular, my rant. He's got to work on everything. I'm hoping that this channel drops okay, his attacking of the basket is improved. He's got one. Well, actually, I take that back. I'm looking here now, and it's got Lonzo Ball attacking in the basket evolution part 1-2. This is 5 months ago, so that was at the beginning of the year or beginning of the season. I'm hoping that we get another one of these, like an update for this season. But I'm saying all this because think about it. They started running him off the 3-point line. What happens if that mid-range start falling? They're going to pick him up and not let him take that either. So they're going to want him to go to the basket. So he's going to have to learn how to attack the basket and finish through contact. Something I would really like to see from Lonzo specifically as far as it applies to that, I want to see him use more of the rim as protection for his layups. I want to see him be able to go underneath the basket and score, even though there's like guys like Rudy Gobert there who are menacing, presences to, rim protect. I want to see him be able to be like, okay, cool. Let me kind of use the rim to protect, and then if he wants to attack, he's gonna have to hit my hand and get a foul. Little things like that, little nuanced details, I think, will have him right where he needs to be. Thinking about it now, Lonzo probably will hit his true stride when he's 25, so that's 2 more years. The reason I say this is because he's finally getting the off season and he's starting to pull some of it together, but he still has a lot more to work on. And so the first year, okay. Second year, ding. I think that's kind of how it was with his 3. First year was like, okay, am I confident in this? Okay, I can shoot now. This year is like, okay, I'm taking those shots. This year, can I shoot the mid-range? Okay, next year I'm taking those shots. If he works on the drawing the contact and finishing, next year he'll be 24. He'll be like, can I do these? Okay, next year I'm taking these. At 25, he'll be basically entering his prime. Julius Randle, I believe, is 26 right now. So that'll give you some kind of, range to see where he's at. Zach LaVine, I think, is 25 going on 26. And he's starting to pop now, too. But the point is, in 2 years, Lonzo is going to have the complete offensive package. But he has to start, sewing that stuff into him now. He missed too much time that a lot of his contemporaries got. And so I don't think he'll ever be as polished as like a De'Aaron Fox will probably be from that standpoint. But I think he'll be good enough at those things to where it's like, okay, I think where his strength is going to come is his IQ. He won't be. I'm trying to think of a comparison that would work in the league right now. Okay, so he won't be Steph Curry. And I'm using Steph Curry as an analogy. I'm not saying he's trying to be Steph Curry. But he won't be Steph Curry, but he can be like a Trae Young, if that makes sense. He won't be like God tier level. But he'll be one of those guys, I think, where the Trae Young thing is stupid. It's a bad analogy. Erase that. But what he'll be is he'll be smarter than most everybody else on the court. And I think he'll be able to leverage that in games with his tool set. So it's kind of like I'm not the best with the tools I have, but I'm smarter than everybody else with the tools I have. And that, I think, is where the strength of his game is going to come. I think, especially with where he is in his career, like, I'm thinking about some things right now. Like, the one thing that's going through my mind is his handles. And how does that play in a role into this? So, like, I'm freestyling off of, like, all my videos, I just kind of go off my head and just talk. Sometimes I premeditate certain things I want to talk about. But this is, this usually when I say stuff like this is a ramble. It's just coming off my head. So, what I'm thinking about right now is I know I haven't been the biggest proponent of him, like necessarily, you know, going hardcore into his handles, and I still am because I think a lot of people want him to be Kyrie Irving. I don't necessarily want him to be Kyrie Irving. I just want him to be tighter and more crisp with his handles to get separation anywhere on the court. I don't think he has bad handles by any means. I just think, there could be some tightening up on that. But a couple of the plays, because I'm thinking about the video because I watched it, a couple of the plays in my head, I'm like, okay, he managed to do some behind the back dribble stuff to get the separation into the shot. That's great. But I'm trying to figure out, is there another way he can get into his shot, instead of, and I'll probably have to go watch DeMar DeRozan, who is a mid-range junkie. And there's some other guys in the league that take mid-range jump shots, but DeRozan is closer to his height. And so I don't want to necessarily look at a player like KD, who's like several inches taller, because he can't do the stuff that KD does. KD is way too tall. Um, but a DeRozan, who that's his like go-to, he loves the mid-range. And I know he was talking about DeRozan as a hard-ass cover, and he bust his ass early in the league, like I think in a pickup game somewhere. Um, Matter of fact, if I were Lonzo, I would try to link up with DeMar DeRozan this summer. If I'm going to work on the mid range, I would go link up with DeMar DeRozan because he has the experience. He's a vet. There isn't anything he hasn't seen. And DeRozan seems to always kill the Pelicans anyway. But I would link up with a DeMar DeRozan and like peel that knowledge from him. I know a lot of people don't like DeRozan, but I like DeRozan personally. I like DeRozan. I think he's a very good player. Even when he was with Toronto and they got beat by LeBron and stuff, I still thought he was a very good player then. But he definitely needs to link up with DeRozan sometime, and they need to drill some stuff. But that mid-range shot is going to be cash money next year. I'm almost willing to bet my left nut on it. That's going to be cash money. I think, like I've been saying, I think the main thing for him is first year you got to try it and get comfortable with it. Next year it's like, okay, let's go. And I still want to see him work on the three because I think that three ball can be 40. I really think he could get 40% from there. If he was 40% 3-point shooter, it's a wrap. Consistently. But I need to see him work on the other tools in the toolbox. Being able to play off of other players is a huge benefit to any player on the court. I think historically and statistically it shows being an off-ball player makes you more valuable to a team, and that's even for superstar level players. That's why Curry is like one of the elite of the elite when it comes to playing with other guys because he doesn't need the ball and all of that. Anybody who can play off the ball is just you know, fantastic. But Lonzo's potential, he's weird. In a way, he's like Russell Westbrook because Russ does so much shit on the court, but except Russ, you can see it through the stats, literally, the assists, the rebounds, the points. I think he's like Russell Westbrook in that he does so much stuff. It's very hard to kind of just like put him in a box. Like he is the box, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So his potential, I ain't gonna say it's limitless, but he may be one of the most balanced guards when he hits his prime. He may be thought about as like the most balanced guard ever to play the game. You know, even for Magic to be what Magic was, Magic still had some shortcomings and some weaknesses. I think Lonzo, when it's all said and done about his career, people are going to have to look back and be like, yo, Lonzo was like probably the most balanced guard we've ever seen. He could finish at the rim, and I'm talking about futuristically, not right now. He could finish at the rim. He could shoot mid range all over the court. He could shoot threes. He could defend at his position and higher. He had the IQ. He had the passing. He had the rebounding. Like, he's going to be probably in rare company because I'm struggling to think of other guards off the top of my head. It was just like does as much as he does. It's not too many. You know, even if we think about the guards today, I've always said the one thing that separates Lonzo from every other guard in the league is, yes, there are going to be others who could do things better. There'll be guards who can shoot better than him. Fine. But they won't have all of the skills that he has at one person. And that's what's going to make him so wonderful. He's kind of like Draymond, except he's a better shooter. And Draymond's like heavier and a better defender. But Draymond is 6'6". He's the same size. As far as height is concerned, Draymond can guard all five positions. Really can't guard the five, but he's good enough that he can put up a fight. Lonzo is basically going to be that. He's going to be the Swiss Army knife. And a player like that is so freaking good. It's like, he's kind of like, okay, we think about Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is one of those guys that everybody knows is good, but he's never mentioned first. But I'll give you a better example. If you like music, if you like rap, we start talking about the top 5 rappers. You know, usually the list is Nas, Jay, Biggie, and Tupac in some order. And then you add other people based on whether it's KRS-One, freaking Eminem, all kinds of rappers and stuff. But there's a guy that is, when you hear his name, you're like, well, of course. And you guys know him probably, Andre 3000. It's like, hell yeah, Andre's like top 5. Nobody mentions him. Nobody mentions him. But they know how good he is. It's like, oh yeah, Andre. Yeah, he definitely in that top 5 somewhere. You just got to figure it out. Lonzo's going to be one of those guys who's kind of like Drew. It's like, when you start thinking about it, it's like, damn, Drew is really fucking good. Underappreciated, but really good. Lonzo's going to be one of the ones like, okay, sure, De'Aaron Fox will be faster and can attack at the basket better. Trey's probably going to have more range and going to be a better overall scorer from shooting. Okay, Ben Simmons is bigger, can guard multiple positions, is way more physical, and can get more rebounds and stuff, but he can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just naming other young guards that he's going to have to contend with. You know, LaMelo Ball can score and attack at the rim and can pass probably, if not at the same level, better, maybe, but he can't play defense, you know. There's, you see what I'm saying? Like, there's always something missing, but he's going to be the jack of all trades. He's going to have a little bit of everything. He's just not going to have the peak at some of those other places as some of those guys. But there's going to be games when it's like, man, we need this. And you can turn to Lonzo, okay, Lonzo, you're going to have to do this for this game. And teams are going to have to adjust off of him, which in turn makes his stars better. LeVar was right. He makes teams better, and I don't like that statement, but I agree. But LeVar was never thinking in his head that Lonzo could make teams better by being a good offensive player. But Lonzo's versatility, and that's my thing, whether it comes to sports, video games, anything in the world, how versatile are you? Versatility is key. That is what makes LeBron James so good. LeBron is the most versatile basketball player in human existence. He's the most balanced player in human existence. He's got the perfect basketball body. Lonzo, which a lot of people is like, that's mini LeBron, he's going to be that at the point guard. He's going to be the most versatile point guard in league history. I'm not saying he's going to be a guy when you say he's top 5 all-time point guard. No. But we could sit here and people, if we're having a draft, you might see Lonzo on the board after you picked up Magic, Zeke, Steph, Oscar, and some others, you'd be like, you might have an argument with yourself. Do I want Lonzo or do I want Steve Nash? Especially if you go get someone on your team like Hakeem or something like that. You know, y'all, if you've ever played 2K or Live or something, did these fantasy drafts where they have like all the other famous, you know, legendary players. That's what it's going to be like. You sit there and be like, if I get Lonzo, I could do everything. So that's not a bad pickup at all. You know, you might be like, well, it's not as many good forwards in history, so I'd rather go draft a forward first. Let me go get KD, LeBron, or Bird, and I can always draft Lonzo later because he'll be available, and he's just as good overall as anybody else on that board. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like fantasy football, but that's my take on it. I know this is a ramble. Um, I'm gonna have to start organizing my videos by that too. Like, oh, here's all my ramble videos. Here's my rants, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, man, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I had a couple other topics this week. Some are gonna be really good, and yes, I'm going to put them on my Patreon. I will not put them on my YouTube. So if you want to check those out, you're gonna have to subscribe to my Patreon. But that's all I really got for y'all. Y'all have a good one. Peace.